Hey, welcome back to 10 Minute Mentor. I'm your host, Rich Perry, with my co-host, Ally Sheridan. Ally, what's going on today?
Not much. Excited to get into this discussion.
All right. I know you've got a question or two,
Yep.
question from some good folks that you
Mhm.
know from college, the college world, the YPs. What's the question you have?
All right. So, from your experience, what makes a candidate memorable?
Okay. And remind me again, we're talking about a candidate in the context of like applying for like an internship, right? A candidate
Mhm.
like that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So this kind of like um goes back to a previous discussion that we were having when you had asked what uh what would I do differently, and I said, oh, get an internship. So this is cool. So now we're having a little bit of a follow-up discussion. I will say, um one thing that I look for is I want to know that the individual, the candidate, okay, the person applying really wants to work with me. Okay. There's a lot of internship opportunities out there. There's a lot of job opportunities out there, right? I mean, go on Indeed, go on LinkedIn, or what are the other ones? Monster and Glassdoor, right? There's
Yeah.
tons of opportunities out there. Um, and if you go to, Wilkes Job Fair and Intern Fair, or the intern fairs at King's, like there's wall to wall, all in the auditorium, tables and tables and tables of people saying, hey, we've got an opportunity. But not every opportunity is the right fit. I mean, think about anything in life. Think romantic relationship, right? Not every person out there is your ideal significant other, right?
Mhm.
Your ideal partner, right? They could be a great friend, just not a romantic interest, right? And it's the same thing with like a job opportunity. It's a relationship. It's are we a good fit to work together? Someone could
Mhm.
be a high achiever, and you look at them on paper. Oh, achievement here, award this, milestone that. Skills, and it's worded and crafted amazingly. Maybe the person went on to chat GPT and it just spit out this most amazing resume, or they hired someone on Fiverr to write it for them, right? And you look at it on paper and you're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing person ever. And then you get in front of them and they're just no personality, nothing of nothing memorable or anything of that nature, right? You're
Mhm.
like, oh man, like I thought this person was going to be the most amazing person, and maybe not. Maybe we're not an ideal fit. Um, so that's what I would encourage is, rather than just looking for any old internship, look for something that you're really going to enjoy. And you'll remember when, you interviewed with me, and I say with the air quotes because I don't like interviews.
Yeah.
But um what did I say? I said, hey, we're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And we want to know if we're a good fit to work together. And you'll remember I said in the interview, I said, we're going to be stuck together for a lot of hours every week. Now, granted, we do a hybrid position here.
Mhm.
So we're not occupying the same space, but we're regularly checking in, we're regularly in communication. And whether it's an in office setting or maybe some kind of hybrid setting, you're still dealing with these people on a day to day basis. So it needs to be a good fit. Um, so that's one thing. It needs to be a good fit. And now, to be memorable, which goes back to the heart of the question, show that you really want to be there, right?
Mhm.
Show that you're really interested in that company, that business, that agency, or that organization. Maybe you're going to work for a nonprofit or something like that. um, do your research. go look at the person's or, that company's website, their social media feed, start picking out some details and try and figure out how you align with what it is that they're doing. I think that if you approach it from that aspect and you determine if you're a good fit to work together, that's one way to showcase, that you really want to be there, but also that it's going to be a good relationship, and that's going to make you memorable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, let me throw it back at you. Like, what was your experience when, we were kind of just getting to know each other, or, you sat in on the interview? Like, what were some of the things that you tried to do, to make yourself memorable or stand out, or see if we were that good fit to work together?
Yeah. I think one thing that I try to do, like, I try to show them, like you said, that I'm really interested. So
Hmm.
I think having like questions for them prepared
Hmm.
shows that you did your research and shows that you really care about it. And also just like I do like to follow up, and I think a lot of people don't do that. So I think that definitely can make someone memorable.
Hmm.
Yeah, and also just trying to connect with them on something. Like if there's something that you have in common, like trying to tell them like, oh, that too, and like then you have a story, and then they can remember you from that. I think that's a really good thing to do.
Awesome. And I will say that you, and I'm, being honest, you really impressed me during that interview. And I don't know if I ever told you this. So maybe you're hearing this for the first time. But when you applied, like, in my head, I was done. I was like, okay, well, I'm brought in one intern, and it was the first time that I was accepting interns. I'm like, all right, I've got one
Mhm,
one intern. We're getting ready for the holidays, right? 'Cause the holidays were coming up, and school was about to get let out. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got one. I'm good. And you sent that resume and your letter and all that stuff, and I'm like, holy smokes, like you really made an impression with what you said. I'm like, wow, this person, like she really wants to be here. I think I was at CVS when the email came in. I just happened to look at my phone, and I'm like, oh, like, all right. So I marked it like, all right, let me
mhm,
contact this person. We'll set up the interview as soon as possible. That way we're not, um, you know, competing with the holiday craziness and stuff like that. But like, you did exactly that. When your email came through, like, I knew that you really wanted that position. Like, what it was that you said spoke directly to me, and so good on you. So, um, folks that are watching, Allie definitely did that, and that was, you know why, I was so happy to speak with her.
mhm.
So to certainly do that, um, and definitely do it when you go job hunting in a
Yeah.
couple months. Very
Yeah, I
cool.
remember you, replied really quick. I was like, "Oh, that worked, like, pretty well." I was like
Right, right,
yeah.
right. And yeah, and again, like, there were a couple other emails that came in around that time, but I just didn't get that same impression. So for me, it was like, oh, um, I was congruent with not even setting up appointments with those other candidates, because however they pitched me, it was just like, oh, I think they're just checking the boxes, and
Mhm,
whatever. But like, when your application came in, I was like, oh, like, she's not checking the boxes. Like, she really wrote this for me, the recipient, Rich Perry. It wasn't just, you didn't just fire some prompts into Chat GPT and be like, oh, we're going to send, dear sir or madam, like, oh yeah, she's really caring about me,
yeah.
so very cool. um awesome. Any closing remarks, any last words, Allie?
Um, I don't really have anything except just like when you're interviewing and trying to apply places, try to definitely research where you're applying and have questions for them. Come prepared to the interview. And yeah, just show them that you really looked into them and it's not just another interview.
Awesome. Folks, we appreciate you being here. If you've got a question for either me or Allie, like she's going through it just like you are right now. So if you want to reach out to either one of us, drop your question in the comments. And if it's a really good question, maybe we'll even ask it right here on 10-Minute Mentor. So thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Allie, catch you on the other side.
Yep.